Happy Monday morning, everyone. And sorry for the really late start and therefore really short stream. It's going to go for half an hour this morning. I'm so late because I've gotten caught up in a new tutorial system. So hang on just a second here. I'm going to kill the audio. Hang on. Right, I was getting some feedback there. Sorry to kill the audio. It's unprofessional. Hi, Enrique. Oh, I'm terrible at reading. Um, Thanks for the comment. I'm going to set aside the headphones here because my desktop audio is getting in the way. Let me know if you're getting a doubled stream on the audio. Okay, so my apologies for all of that, and my apologies for totally mispronouncing your handle. Um, anyway, stick around. We're only going to be going for half an hour this morning because I got to get the kid off to school. The other kid just graduated on Saturday, so it's been a crazy weekend. Epic hailstorm, all sorts of fun things going on. But we're back here and we're building a tutorial system, and it's not really a system for. It doesn't make any difference to how the player plays the game. Um, the difference is that I'm going to try to put some little hints in for the player. So I'm going to just double check that all of this made it across. Our tutorial system's going. All right, very good. Here we go. Yeah, so is it before? Well, I'm going to press play here, and it's going to take like 13 seconds to load up. And while it does that, so is it erinesque? I am so terrible here with translating people's handles on the fly. So again, apologies for that. All right, here we go. It's playing now. Thank goodness. Okay. Oh, I think I probably just killed part of the system. Right. So we zoom in here, and hopefully the player's going to just bounce around until they hit something. And then, ooh, erinesque. Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry. Or just Aaron. Well, hi, Aaron, and thank you. Thank you for your comments. And sorry for the rough start this morning. All right, so players here, they've just rebuilt this part. They're still getting no hints from the system. If they click on that little flashy thing, they get that, and I hope the first hint's going to show up here pretty soon. Yeah, there's the first hint. So it's just showing the arrow keys to let you know that if you go back and forth between the arrow keys, you can change the thing you want to rebuild. Ah, Aaron-esque because of your artwork. What's your artwork? What do you do? Keep rebuilding here. There's another little tutorial hint. Just seeing if it's working. And it is, so that's all good. Great. Yeah. Well, me too. That's fantastic. Yeah, usually I do a little bit more high poly, a little bit more realism stuff here, but because this whole game is a personal project, I just work in low poly and a kind of a sketchy style. And I've been really enjoying working on a different style. So that's the story here. Cool, I'll go check out your subreddit. I will. Let's put that on pause for just a second here. Hang on just a moment. Oh, we got the internet slowing down here, out in the middle of nowhere. That happens. Just looking up something else here. You can admire the rebuilt thing here. Oh, hey, how you doing, James? Nice to see you here in the chat too, James. It looks like people on Monday morning are a little bit chatty. That's a good thing. I'm just trying to figure out the internet because I'm an old man in my shed in the mountains. It is morning here, and it's not quite, well, it's just gone 7 a.m. It was kind of a rough start to the week, so apologize for my super professionalism here. Okay, Aaron, I've finally managed to get Reddit to work. It's not Reddit's fault, it's my fault. Do you mind if I bring that 9 a.m. for you? You must be over on Eastern time. But Aaron, do you mind if I bring over that subreddit onto the main screen to kind of just scroll through some of the art you've posted there? I think it's really fascinating, and I can see the historical influences very much. Okay, I'll bring that one over then. Just as we time travel here, we'll let that time travel happen. So I was just testing out a couple of things actually. Another thing we're testing is my new shaders, and they seem to be working okay. So everyone, for posterity, this is Aaron's subreddit, R erinesque, and Aaron's artwork is inspired by historic subjects. So I was just reading through James's there as well, working on Georgian regional administration, and I was thinking Georgian as in 18th century, but of course we were talking about Georgia, and it's a little bit earlier than the 18th century. I like these, Aaron. They're like fashion plates, um, but with kind of, yeah, I really like the historical influence here. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We had an 18th century Georgian on screen right there. See, that's why you could forgive me for thinking that my putting my head in the 18th century. Um, These are great, Aaron. Thank you for sharing. When my wife was an undergraduate, she took a theater costume class, and she is afraid of art, although I think she's a fine artist. And she had to draw a lot of different fashion plates, and she did historical work as well. She did some 12th century stuff. That sea creature's a little bit terrifying. Did you see the lanternfish that washed up on the shore in Oregon? Yeah, 12th century is your period. Yeah, absolutely. Mina. This would be Mina from Bram Stoker's Dracula, would it? You know, I've seen that book, Aaron. Yeah, again, it's a good book, a good resource. I'm terrible with historic costume, which is why you don't see a whole lot of people in my stuff. Mostly a buildings guy. Well, excellent. Well, thank you again, Aaron. So this is on the subreddit r/erinesque. Thank you very much for that. I'm just gonna tuck this away over here. I'm just gonna jump back into here because I'm working on a tutorial system on the game, and I just want to see if it's working. Pardon me. And part of it wasn't quite. She may have been inspired by Mina. Mina's one of my favorite characters from that book. Have you ever read the original book, like the unedited original? Because it's, in my opinion, really hard to read. I mean, it's great. The style's really great and everything, but you could probably cut about 3/4 of it and not actually lose anything. He gets very, very interested in blood transfusions and typewriters. Oh, yes, you have. So, was your opinion that you could cut a lot of it? The editor in me just kind of went nuts when I read it. He was an interesting fellow. I don't actually know that much about him. He's a bit out of my research region. He's right in the time period I study, but he's out of my research region. So sadly, I'm relatively ignorant. Yeah, you thought maybe it could be edited a bit. Yeah, it's an interesting example. Um, well, what am I looking for here? It's an interesting example, I think, of a case where somebody's really excited about the technology of now. Yeah, he was very interested in the technology of now, and it's interesting how poorly that always ages. I'm always interested in speculative fiction of the near future and how badly it ages. So same stuff. Okay. Um, oh, nice. I'll have to look that one up too. Yeah, he's had a bit of a rehabilitation in recent years as far as like being a monster or not. This not being Bram Stoker. Maybe he was always a monster, but Vlad Tepes. Yeah. All right. Just going to try to test out again my little tutorial system here. Okay. So those are coming up. So that's nice to see those coming up, and then they should fade away in another second or so. There they go. And then they should come back up again when I hover over it, so that's good. So if I just click on this without scrolling through the build options, should I be getting the hint? No, I'm not getting the hint. So I should be getting another little hint that says to drag the mouse. And that's not showing up. It's completed the tutorial, but it's not showing. Interesting. Okay, so I've got an issue going on there. So we'll rebuild and see what other tutorial hints show up. Okay, got the little hit the I key, just to let you know that you can hit the I key to jump into the inventory. So that worked. And we can see that we're going through our different, there's an interesting thing. So sorry to mumble through this. I should be, when I hit my arrow keys, which you can't see that I'm doing, but when I hit my arrow keys, I should be scrolling through the two options to rebuild this, and the Gothic option, although my little dot down here gets big to show that I'm on the second option, and if I click, I'm going to rebuild the Gothic Arch option, but the Gothic Arch preview doesn't show up. So my tutorial system broke my building system. That's not a shock. That sort of thing happens all the time. Oh well. Okay, but at least we can see that we've got like two different things to rebuild here. So that's still working. And now we can see we've only got one thing to rebuild because we've made a choice. And so we've lost a few options because we made a choice. We can see we had some there and no choice there. And that builds out. So I need to get the tutorial system working on two issues. So that's a good thing to know. So pardon me, guys, while I jump into some scripting here. So one thing that's nice about trying to develop a game is that it's not 100% art and it's not 100% code. You get to jump back and forth between them, and that's a really nice thing to do, I think. I enjoy that difference. So I'm going to just see what should happen here. When I click my mouse on that first bit of window tracery, it should run this one. Oh, that's what's going on. I understand. We don't even need these logic checks. That's the problem. Okay, because if only they were that easy to build in real life. Yeah, no kidding. That's kind of the point of this whole game, is that I used to work on the grounds of St. Mary's Abbey in York, and it's just a big ruined abbey, and it's just littered with architectural fragments, pieces of window tracery and vaults, mainly vault ribs. And I used to go for walks through that, and I could see in my head what the windows would look like when they go back together, but there were thousands of fragments. And I always wanted to just kind of be able to magically wave my hands and have all the fragments reassemble themselves for me. And so that became this game. But anyway, I like switching back and forth between the art, the environment art, and the coding bit that we just saw. So we're going to test this one thing. So the change I made should mean that once the user gets to the point where they can rebuild the tracery options in the window here, if they click on that window, so if they click on that window, so we've got the tutorial option there. Anyway, clicking on the window should in a few seconds bring up a mouse drag icon. So let's see what happens here. Now that that's worked. Maybe? Still not working. Well, that's a shame. Right, so it should have brought up a little icon that says drag the mouse because I want the user to realize that their perspective isn't fixed. I know it would be perfect to be able to just kind of wave your hands and have the ruins rebuild themselves. Exactly. See, now we're over that. So I've got to go in and do a little bug check here. So that kind of became the game, but since a good chunk of my professional work has been trying to interpret what those ruins were like, and being an archaeologist and knowing that you never really can recapture the past, I decided to make a game where you can actually rebuild things differently than they may have actually been in the past because you're only working on the evidence you have. So it's all about a conversation with the past rather than rebuilding exactly what it was like. Because I think that's really creative, and that kind of creativity archaeologists are often quite concerned about and don't let themselves engage in. So I'm just going to dig through my code here. Okay, I'm going to put in a little debug here. Pardon the clicky-clacky keyboard. Go away. Stop giving me a tooltip there. Okay, this bit should let me know that I've actually called this function and that this function's broadcast this message to call the other function to bring up the little tutorial icon that I keep banging on about, but I'm missing. Because the real hard part is not getting this to show the little mouse drag icon. The really difficult part is getting it to go away, which is the part I really wanted to work on this morning. Only got about 15 minutes left. So what kind of archaeology do you enjoy? Just archaeology in general, Aaron? Or is there a particular period or place that you particularly find interesting? Egyptology. I was just going to say Egypt. Yeah. I knew a couple of Egyptologists once. They were interesting folks. All right, here we go. We're going to play this again. And I'm going to watch for the console message to show up. All right, here we go. Zooming in, rebuilding, grabbing the tracery fragment to allow us to reconstruct tracery now. Hover over that. That's great. Rebuild. Wait a couple of seconds. There's a timer. And the timer's not being triggered. Okay, so I've got to go fix my logical railroad tracks here. All right, what's going on? Why am I not getting the right thing called? Well, because of this silly person. That's why. 'Cause I didn't tell it to call that on mouse click. Ugh. All right. This time it's going to work. Really. This time it's going to work. Egypt's always been one place I wanted to visit for a really long time. I had an opportunity to go stay in a flat that was apparently right across the street from the pyramids, with an archaeologist friend of mine, and I never took that opportunity because work got in the way. And I probably shouldn't have let work get in the way. Yeah, the pre-conquest stuff. Hang on just a minute. I'm gonna check this. Okay, so that's gonna rebuild the tracery. That's cool. And there we go. That's the bit I wanted to have showing. So hooray, we got that far. The problem is I got to get this to stop showing. I think I probably just need to have this guy on a timer. Would be the easiest thing. Yeah, and then that should have gone away because it's showing. Right, okay. Well, we got a little bit further. Yeah, the pre-conquest stuff. I wanted to be a pre-conquest archaeologist when I went and did my master's degree in medieval archaeology. And at that time, in around the year 2000, they Anglo-Saxonists really liked to just fight each other all the time. I got kind of tired of the scholarly discourse, and so I moved over to the later Middle Ages, and I really like that period. There's a lot of fighting and difficult scholarly discourse there as well, of course, but there's more evidence, so it's a little bit more fun. Anglo-Saxonists will, of course, be quite angry with me when I say there's no evidence for their period. It's always one fun way to wind them up. I always tried to get them to convince me that Britain existed before the 14th or before the 12th century. Okay, I'm going to change something in my tutorial system. I've just got to find that script. I bet this is fun looking at blurry code on the screen go by. I really wanted to be a Bronze Age Britain archaeologist. I'm not quite sure why I didn't carry on with that. Show the zoom, hide portal. There we go, that's the one I wanted. Okay. How long am I going to leave that one up there? Let's leave it up for 4 seconds. And then call hide rotate view tutorial. Okay. Let's do a little logic check here. I just have to figure out this one. What am I trying to do? Oh, stop it, Microsoft. I'm trying to say that if it isn't already hidden, it needs to be hidden, but maybe we don't need to worry about that. Let's find out. Maybe I'm thinking in too many logical circles here. Yeah. Trying to think logically and code while also trying to think about interesting things like pre-conquest British archaeology. My head starts getting a little bit of a spin. Okay, let's get to the point now where our little arrow keys are going to show up. Not our arrow keys, our drag. Our mouse drag. Tint? Hint? Gracious. Rough morning this morning, I guess. Alright. Here we go. Rebuild that. And the user doesn't have to start by rebuilding that. I just happen to know. Yeah, I know Bronze Age is so interesting. I know. If I'd known about votive offerings, Bronze Age votive offerings, I really might have stuck with the Bronze Age. Okay, let's see if that goes away after 4 seconds. That's a little bit too brief a time period. And then that's going to come up to remind us that we can go back and forth. Oh, now I get a preview. Why am I getting a preview now? That's weird. Okay. Well, that works. All right. Yeah, so the tutorial showing part should be there. Tutorial showing equals false. That is really exciting. Very exciting. Well done. Wow, Jasper Tudor and Charlemagne. That's fantastic. No, I don't have anybody in my family history. My family history is kind of impossible to know. Well, I mean, it isn't, but it's Italian and I don't speak Italian. I suspect we've been Italian dirt farmers for a really long time. Well, at least I got the little move drag arrow icon to show up. I'm just going to go in here and change one more thing in my delayed call. Keep that up for 7 seconds. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to make these two variables public so I can watch them in the inspector. All right, let's let that compile. We'll do one more test. And then I'm afraid, everybody, that I'm going to have to go because I have to get the boy to school. Daughter's done with school now, but boy still has to go. So I've got to get him on the road. All right, let's go watch these variables. The two variables I'm really interested in is the last move tut transform and the tut showing one. Those are the two I'm really interested in. So let's test it again. Let the game recompile. And thank you for the tip, but we're gonna just get rid of that. All right. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna watch these two. Let's see what we can see about tutorials. Okay, so in just a moment. There it is, that's nice. Now when I hover over the blue shiny bits, we're gonna see Okay. See, so the tutorial showing hasn't even showed up yet, so that's a huge problem. And then that's going to show up. Okay, so the arrow keys bit said it was showing, and now that's going out. Okay, so I was just watching all of this stuff down in the corner, and I see there's already been some issues with the logic in that. So I know there's something to fix here. Yeah, thank you. We know you're showing. That's great. And then you probably go away. Yeah, there's a problem with this little checkbox here. It needs to check more. Well, good to know. Okay. Well, Aaron, it was a delight to meet you and to speak with you. I've got to run now. And James, it was really nice to see you again, and good luck with the Georgian state organization. I'm sure you'll crack it. If it can be cracked, I'm sure you're going to crack it. And even if you can't, there's always a scholarly opportunity in that no matter what. Yeah, the world will be richer no matter what. But I've got to bring this one to an end. Like I said, got to get the family going this morning. So anyway, Aaron, it was really nice to see you. I hope to be streaming on Wednesday. I tend to stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. Usually a little bit earlier than this, but usually I go up to about now. So thank you, everyone. It was a real pleasure this morning. Yeah, what's happening on screen is often quite boring, but that's game dev. But always happy to talk history, archaeology, any old thing. So I will see you later, but it's been a pleasure. So bye for now.